Hello, and a big warm welcome. If this is your first time on the channel, go ahead and subscribe, and feel free to share this video with someone. It really boosts the channel. Let me know where you're watching from in the comments. Let's get going. The morning had a strange stillness to it, the kind that lingers right before everything falls apart. At the vineyard, every detail was in place. The band was just starting to run through their warm-up. When I checked my watch, it was 2:11 p.m. The ceremony was set for 2:30. Inside the groom's suite, Ethan, my best man, stood beside me as I fussed with my tie for what felt like the 100th time. He gave my shoulder a steadying squeeze, silently asking if I was okay. I nodded, feeling the anxiety simmering just below the surface, repeating to myself that I was ready. Kendra and I had been together for 4 years. We met at work. She was in marketing. I handled product design. What began as a few coffee chats quickly deepened into cohabitation, family holidays, and talk of starting a family. She had insisted on the vineyard venue, calling it timeless and full of charm. I hadn't argued. At 2:25, my phone vibrated. Kendra's name lit up the screen. Ethan shot me a look. I gave him a small, uncertain smile and stepped outside to take the call. "Hey," I answered. There was a moment of silence. I could hear her breathing. Then her voice broke through, thin and shaking. "Gavin, I'm sorry. I can't go through with it." I froze. The phone suddenly felt heavy, like something dangerous. "What are you talking about?" "I'm leaving," she said softly. "I can't marry you. I'm sorry." "You're leaving?" I repeated slowly, struggling to process her words. "Where are you?" "I'm sorry," she whispered again. "Please don't hate me." Then the call ended. I didn't redial, didn't yell or panic. I just stood there, numb. After a moment, I turned and walked back into the room. I looked Ethan dead in the eyes. "She's not coming," I said. His brow furrowed. "What?" "She just called, said she can't do it. She's gone." He stared at me, searching my face for a sign I was joking. "You're serious?" I nodded slowly, then turned and walked down the corridor toward the ceremony area. The guests, there must have been a couple hundred, were milling about, laughing, chatting, completely unaware. I stepped up to the mic. "Small change of plans," I said into it. Conversations fell quiet as heads turned. "Hi, everyone," I began. My voice came out clear, surprisingly composed. "Thank you for coming. I know you expected to see Kendra and me get married today, but that's not going to happen." A ripple of murmurs passed through the crowd. "She just called," I continued. "She's not coming. She said she couldn't go through with it." Gasps echoed from the audience. A few turned instinctively toward the bridal suite, holding out hope that she might still walk in wearing white, just running late. "She's not sick, and she's not delayed," I said. "She made a choice, one I never saw coming." I scanned the crowd. My family looked stunned. Her father, Benjamin, seemed dazed. Her mother looked like all the blood had drained from her face. "I'm not going to stand here and play the victim," I said. "But we have a full kitchen, an open bar, and a great band that's already paid. So if you're here to support us, either of us, you're welcome to stay. It's no longer a wedding, but it can still be a celebration." I raised my glass of water. "To new beginnings, even the ones you didn't plan for." There was a beat of silence. Then Ethan started clapping. Someone else joined in. Slowly, others followed. Kendra's parents got up and left. Around a third of the guests followed them out, murmuring their apologies. But the rest remained. Ethan handed me a glass of whiskey without a word. By the time night fell, it looked like any other reception, aside from the missing bride. The next 2 days passed quietly. No calls, no texts. Kendra had vanished without a trace. Come Monday, the messages began. Not from her, but from people. Friends, acquaintances, who hadn't been there but had heard something. "Heard things didn't go as planned. You all right?" one read. Someone else mentioned Kendra had told people she'd suffered a panic attack, that it wasn't what it looked like. I didn't reply. I hadn't told anyone what really happened, that steady, eerily calm tone in her voice. But clearly, Kendra was already rewriting the narrative. That evening, her name flashed on my phone screen. I let it ring until it stopped. Then I turned the phone face down. By Tuesday night, it escalated. A friend forwarded a message from a group chat Kendra was in. I wasn't thinking clearly. Gavin kept pressuring me. I snapped. He didn't even try to talk to me, just made a public scene and humiliated me. That line hit hard. She was twisting everything. My silence, my restraint. She was painting them as cruelty, casting herself as the one wronged. Later that night, I got a call from Jenna, one of Kendra's closest friends. We hadn't spoken in months. "Gavin," she began, voice tight, "I shouldn't be telling you this, but you deserve to know." "Know what?" "She didn't have a panic attack. She left with someone. His name's Darren. It wasn't impulsive. She planned it." I didn't respond. "She told me weeks ago she was doubting the wedding, said Darren made her feel alive. He promised her something new. They planned to meet up as soon as she ended the call with you." I let out a slow breath. "She made me swear not to say anything," Jenna said. "But when she started making you the villain, I couldn't stay silent." I shook my head. "That's not okay." Jenna didn't sugarcoat it. They'd been talking for about 3 months. I think it started online. Then they met up a few times. He's older, owns a bar somewhere around Fort Myers, I think. I sat frozen at the dining table, phone pressed to my ear, staring blankly ahead. She was explaining how he had promised her something different, a life without constraints, free of routines and pressure. He suggested they leave together on the morning of the wedding, but she didn't want to be seen as the villain. "So she waited until minutes before the ceremony," I said aloud. Jenna didn't respond. I think she genuinely believed Darren would be there, in every sense of the word, once she made her choice. But when she arrived, it wasn't some sweeping romantic escape. "What happened?" I asked. She'd messaged me from a small town a couple of stops away, said Darren had seemed distant, emotionally checked out, told her his place was undergoing renovations and they'd have to improvise for now. Then he vanished. "He left her?" I asked again. Apparently, they'd argued, and he dropped her off at a gas station. Since then, she's been reaching out to anyone who might answer. "I think she tried you too," Jenna said. "She did," I confirmed. "I didn't answer." Now Kendra was calling it a mistake, said she panicked, but I knew better. "This wasn't fear," I said. "It was premeditated. Her bag was packed the night before." I paused. "She didn't just walk out on the wedding," I said eventually. "She walked away from everything." Jenna remained silent for a beat. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "You didn't deserve that." "No," I replied. "But at least now I know where things stand." After ending the call, I walked into the bedroom and opened the closet. Her belongings remained untouched. Dresses, handbags, shoes, all hanging neatly, like she might return at any moment. That night, I began packing up her things. By the following afternoon, I was sealing the final box when my phone lit up with an incoming call. Kendra's name appeared on the screen. I let it ring twice before picking up. "Gavin," she said, voice trembling. "Thank you for answering. I've been trying to reach you." "I know," I said flatly. She paused, probably waiting for something warmer. I offered nothing. "I made a terrible mistake," she said in a rush. "I wasn't thinking straight. Everything got to be too much. The wedding, the pressure. I didn't know if I was ready." "It wasn't just uncertainty," I interrupted. "You were planning an escape, with Darren." There was a long silence. "I know about him," I said, continuing. I could hear her sharp intake of breath. "You had your bag ready the night before. That wasn't panic. That was a decision." "I was scared, Gavin," she pleaded. "I thought he could give me something I was missing." And when that illusion shattered, that's when you decided to reach out to me? I asked. No, she said quickly. Because I love you. Yes, I made a mess of everything, but we've built something together. Can't we just pause things for now? Say I had a breakdown or something? We could still move forward, just delay it a bit. I nearly laughed, not out of amusement, but disbelief. You want to pretend none of this happened? I asked. Like you didn't betray everything we built? I didn't want to hurt you, she whispered. But you did, I replied, because you chose to. I know, she murmured. But I don't have anywhere else to go. I've been crashing on friends' couches. I haven't even told my parents the truth. Then maybe that's where you should start, I said. She began to cry. Gavin, please. I don't know what to do. That's your problem, Kendra, I said, my voice cold. Not mine. Then I hung up. And this time, I didn't wait for her to try again. I blocked her number. But the fallout wasn't finished. On Sunday morning, my phone rang once more. It was her brother, Thomas. I let it go to voicemail. His message came through angry and indignant. Gavin, what's wrong with you? He barked. You embarrassed my sister in front of everyone. You didn't need to make it public. This should have been handled privately. Call me. I didn't. By the next day, emails began flooding in. First from Kendra's old address, then from an unfamiliar new one. The tone had shifted dramatically. It was colder. We need to talk, one message said, about damages, financial and emotional, shared assets, and the impact this has caused. She had bolded the word, damages. She was demanding compensation. The email included a detailed list, wedding expenses, items in the apartment we both contributed to, emotional strain, and astonishingly, estimated therapy costs. And that wasn't all. Thomas sent his own message, insisting I reimburse their family's travel expenses. Then another, suggesting I should pay for Kendra's therapy, calling it an emotional responsibility. I didn't answer a single one. Instead, I forwarded everything to my attorney, Daniel Cohen. After reviewing them, he called. She has no legal footing, he said bluntly. She was the one who walked away. You're not liable for anything. He offered to draft a formal response, and I accepted. The next day, a single email went out to both Kendra and Thomas. Gavin considers this matter resolved. Kendra voluntarily ended the engagement and canceled the wedding. No financial obligations exist. Further attempts at contact will be deemed harassment. I wasn't bitter, just done. That evening, I poured myself a drink and opened the folder containing our honeymoon itinerary. 2 weeks in Fiji, luxury, all-inclusive, non-refundable, but the agent had mentioned the guest name could be changed. I shot a text to Ethan. What are you doing next week? At first, he thought I was joking. But when I called and laid it all out, first-class flights, overwater bungalow fully covered, he realized I was serious. No hesitation. He was in. A week had gone by and Ethan and I were boarding the plane. The villa Kendra had obsessed over was extravagant to the point of absurdity. Glass-paneled floors, sweeping views of the ocean in every direction. She had talked about it endlessly, showing me photos, painting vivid pictures of morning swims and sunset drinks, just the two of us wrapped in bliss. Instead, it was just Ethan and me, two guys on a trip we never intended to take. You'd think it would feel strange. It didn't. That first night, we poured a few drinks and laid everything out. No lectures, no forced advice, just Ethan being Ethan, calm, grounded, quietly absorbing it all without a hint of judgment. The kind of friend who doesn't flinch when the walls come down. By the third day, we crossed paths with 2 women from New Zealand, easygoing travelers exploring the islands. They were sharp, funny, and best of all, didn't probe. That night we all grabbed dinner. It wasn't romantic, just a relaxed, effortless evening that didn't feel like avoidance. It felt normal, real. On day 5, I uploaded a photo, Ethan and I on the villa's deck, drinks in hand, ocean unfolding behind us. The caption was simple, making the best of a left turn. Paradise found. No hashtags, no location tag, no names. But I knew exactly who it was meant for. Sure enough, 2 days later, a message popped up from one of Kendra's old friends, someone who had been silent since everything fell apart. Just a heads up, she saw the post. Kendra's losing it. Apparently, she spent hours in tears, not from remorse, but from sheer rage. She expected me to be drowning in the wreckage, paralyzed in place. But I wasn't. I used every dime of that honeymoon, not to forget her, but to remember exactly what she discarded without a second thought. It's been 4 months since that wedding that never happened. The letter from my attorney did what it needed to do. The constant demands stopped cold. Kendra and Thomas fell silent. No more random acquaintances trying to paint me as the villain. Her smear campaign collapsed under its own weight. The truth started to circulate. People heard what really happened, about Darren, about the argument, about the gas station where she was left behind. Facts have a way of cutting through noise. Rumor fades, but facts linger. Through mutual connections, I heard she bounced around for a while, spent a few nights on a coworker's couch after Darren bailed, tried staying with Thomas next, but that barely lasted 2 weeks. Eventually, she landed in someone's spare room. Last I heard, she's working a temp job, nothing steady, still telling her version to anyone who'll listen, still angry that I never came crawling back. She said she wanted a fresh start. What she got was a burned bridge and no place to land. As for me, I'm doing well. Sure, the wedding burned through nearly $5,000, but I've stopped seeing that as a waste. That was the cost of clarity. Since then, I've thrown myself into work, hit the gym harder, reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with. I've even gone on a few dates, not serious, just enough to feel like myself again. My house feels different now. It feels like it's mine again. People sometimes ask how I stayed so composed through all of it. The truth is simple. She didn't just leave me. She walked away from everything we'd built. She rolled the dice on something new and lost before the first move. She thought she could burn it all down and still come back when it suited her. But life doesn't work that way. You can't destroy the foundation and expect the door to stay unlocked. She made her choice 5 minutes before the ceremony, and in doing so, she turned away from a future she assumed would always be waiting for her. Now she's stuck in the ashes, but I'm not. I'm building something better, and that's the part she'll never be able to accept. This story has come to an end. What's your opinion? Share it in the comments, my friend. And if you like this story, check out other exciting videos on my channel. I'll say goodbye until the next video. See you.